Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crockett Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of Dirty Politics. I got my man in the building, Chuck Mauler, Aubrey R. Taylor, and tonight, not Uptown, but one of the baddest attorneys in the country. We know the city of Houston. They call him Downtown Oliver Brown. And he's the attorney for Aubrey Taylor in the suit with the good doctor, Candice Matthews. We're going to get into it tonight. So you better push the share button because you don't want to miss this. Let's get to it. Hey, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of Dirty Politics, you know, where we uncover things and we talk about things from a political stance. And then we might just get into your business altogether. It ain't no telling what we're going to do. But today has been a busy day. I could see some things. Wasn't feeling real good, but, you know, I tried to keep up with the news. Carol Alvarado has, you know, started her filibuster up in D.C. You know, Governor Greg Abbott trying to arrest everybody that should be in Texas, but hiding out in D.C. But along the way, we've been doing our homework on a few things and came across some stuff. The only thing I can say, man, if I drew a straight line in politics in the city of Houston, some of y'all still would be crooked. Y'all still would be crooked, man. Ain't nothing nobody can do. Even Jesus himself, with the cross on his back, with a holy water, sprinkling it on some of y'all, you still just would not do right. But I'm going to just say this here. What's going on, Chuck?
Man, it's going good. I'm doing some digging for Aubrey.
So, you know, I've been getting a bunch of calls, and some folk don't want you on the show. And I told them, man, my partner ain't going nowhere. He going to stay right here because the people love him, so he ain't going nowhere. Aubrey, what's happening? We know you one of the most hated in the county.
Man, it's on public enemy number one. Well, man, right. we rocking and rolling with it, man. I put in a little research today. Hopefully Oliver let me talk about it.
Well, I tell you what, man, the one thing I want to say, and then we're going to introduce our guests and get started. A lot of kids went back to school today. A lot of kids went back to school today, man. And I saw some photos and some hallways that really didn't sit too well with me, mask or not. It's just, I don't know right now. And I wouldn't want to be the people making those decisions. But, you know, I think that when it all boils down to it, you have to make the best decision for your child. I don't care what your school district is, Klein, Fort Bend, HISD, they're not going to donate a penny to your child's funeral if your child ends up dead. That's how I feel about it. So make the best decision for your child, your family, and do what you need to do. But I want to introduce a bad man tonight. I've been a fan of his for a long time, man. I've been a fan of his, never had the opportunity to work with him. But I tell you what, his reputation precedes him. Man, when you put the downtown in front of somebody's name, you a bad man, man. I want to introduce y'all to Attorney Oliver Brown. What's going on, my friend?
Oh, not much, man. How you doing today?
Hey, man, I'm blessed. Man, give the people a little background on you so they can know where you come from and how long you've been in business.
Well, background. You know, I started off, I wasn't a lawyer at first. I'm a former airline pilot, and this was a second career of mine. I was motivated to become a lawyer when I used to be a protester up at Texas Southern University. And I was kind of thrown into wanting to go into law after seeing how my lawyer defended me in a First Amendment suit against the government. And we were victorious. And so my lawyer inspired me to go ahead and go all the way to law school. Good old Pat Gilpin, he's a civil rights attorney. He's retired now, but he inspired me to that. And back when I was going to law school, there wasn't much money in civil rights. It seems like that's starting to change with all the advent of cameras and things of that nature. Where we're able to catch officers on tape and expose what they're doing. Additionally, then you have issues like what my client is faced with, Mr. Taylor, who is, you know, for all accounts, you know, a publisher and a member of the press that writes on stories, good, bad, and ugly, and so people like that need to have some type of protection when they face with suits like what we know that's going on now. So I've been practicing since 2013. So, and started doing a few political cases here and there. I guess my biggest one was the one with Cynthia Bailey. That was a long, drawn out fight. It was a lot of fun, interesting, facts and interesting area of law. And now here we are dealing with Mr. Taylor's issue.
Well, I tell you what, man, Mr. Taylor's issue to me is clear cut about the First Amendment. I just dealt with the First Amendment in federal court with the Houston Independent School District, and they got spanked for about a 6-figure amount as it pertains to my attorney fees. I didn't go into it looking for compensation. I wanted my voice, and they tried to take my voice away. And because of that, they couldn't do it. We had to fight all the way to the Fifth Circuit. But I put the documents up the other day where, we were the party that prevailed, and the judge ordered them to pay my attorney's fees. So, 2 years of fighting the case, the average attorney, $325 to $350 an hour. That's on the low end, for 2 years. So 6 figures easily, fighting for the First Amendment. So this thing came up with Aubrey writing a story. I was there from the beginning. I saw it all from the beginning. And I knew both of them, and I didn't want to get in the middle of it. I didn't want to, and did everything in my power to try to stop it from escalating. But I will say that Aubrey was not the person that was not willing to de-escalate. The good doctor didn't want to do that. In a private conversation with her, when I was pulled into it, I pleaded with her. And I tried to tell her, because I've done it. I've been a writer for a newspaper. And I say, man, this man's pen is more deadlier than a 9mm, especially if he's telling the truth. And you may not be able to recover from the truth being told. But she wanted to fight. She threw the first punch, and now she's the victim. And now she go file this big old lawsuit. So that means that my man Aubrey had to lawyer up. And the thing that keeps coming out is from a lot of people that what Aubrey has written, what he has said is not truthful. And that's where your expertise comes in, because you're going to prove in a court of law that he has been truthful, that he has not defamed anybody. And I think that, when you lay the case out, because I don't know what you have, I'm just looking at court documents and that's it. But I'm pretty sure you have a good strategy to prove that Aubrey was well within his rights of a journalist and exercising his First Amendment right of freedom of speech.
Yeah, and I want to first start off by, a lot of times as attorneys, we don't want to try a case in the press or in social media or anything of that nature. But this case is a lot different than most of your cases. We had various press conferences in the Bailey case that media came, asked us questions, and both sides, answered accordingly, But what's different about this case is that my client's business has been attacked and his character has been attacked for truthfulness. And so once you start deeming someone untruthful, especially in the business of writing articles that are about political figures and things of that nature, it really becomes a very dangerous, slippery slope, because once his character is impugned, it's going to take a lot to rehab. So therefore, I agreed to come on here, speak with you. I know that you're popular within the community. People watch the show, but I wanted to clear up some of the issues, and it's because my client's business has been threatened, and he's been made out to be a liar, and it's absolutely factually inaccurate. In fact, just so that you were talking about my background, let me give you some background of what I do with a client when they come to me. I'm not going to be an instrument of bullshit. Right? I'm just going to cut to the chase. I'm not going to just sit there and take someone's case because they can pay the $350 an hour. if they come in there and I see their case is fatally flawed, I'll tell them, hey, I can still represent you, but look, there's not much merit to your action, or, if it's a criminal matter, hey, look, man, they've got you nailed, to the cross. You need to go ahead and, do the right thing to get this behind you. So when Mr. Taylor came to me, I see sometimes some of his posts, a lot of it's just political stuff, but I keep a foot in and a foot out. And so I didn't know what the things were. And I was a bit concerned because there was some allegations about saying that this lady had lied about her education, and that, that there was some issues about planting of drugs. And it sounds really, really, really bad, when he comes to you, and I'm like, thinking that he's going to be in some type of trouble. But doing my due diligence, Mr. Taylor has told the truth. And, I'll start off by saying when I represented Bailey, I remember at the end of one of our hearings, Dr. Matthews came up to me and she said, hey, I'm Dr. Matthews. And she kind of introduced herself. And for some reason, I thought she was someone that I knew from Texas Southern University. And she goes, well, no. Well, I'm not really a doctor. People just call me Doc because I got the low down or whatever. And I was like, okay, nothing. I don't care if you call yourself an astronaut, I mean, heck, I've got a moniker myself. So it's really not that big of an issue, in my opinion. This case became a huge issue when she now not only asserts that she's a doctor, but then has now filed verified pleadings to the effect that she's a doctor from some type of accredited university. I had to go and vet the history of what the educational background of, as I use, Dr. Matthews. I can say with a pretty good degree of certainty that it's very questionable at best if she has a doctoral degree. And that's just based off of court filings from prior cases that she's been involved in, and even this current case, and taking in consideration her own Facebook account. And so it conflicts all the way. And so you don't get the grasp that she's one of those people that they're like right now, we're in an era of where a lot of educated, successful Black women are rising to positions of critical power. They're judges. They're in high political office, as high up as the vice president. And these people have doctoral degrees and they work their butts off for it. But for someone to sit there and try to say that I get to associate with this crowd without doing the work, I think it does a disservice to all the African-American people that have studied so hard to obtain their doctoral degrees. So, that's why I'm in this suit, and I mean, going back to, I think it was the court pleadings, I don't have them in front of me. And I've briefed this to a very, to every ends of what she has said. And the first thing is in 2015, there was some custody dispute, and they did an evaluation, and they brought up her education, and she listed some schools, one for a doctoral degree, one for a master's, and then another for a bachelor's degree. And those schools, which one I think was TCU or something.
It was Temple in South Carolina.
There you go. I don't have it memorized, but I know that it conflicted. And then my client was relying upon Facebook posts, and it just said I studied at these universities. And we've all used social media. We know our friends that put study when they attended TSU for one semester and really just party. So there's a difference. You can select graduated or whatnot, but even then you may think, well, maybe she just selected the wrong option. But now it's in sworn documents within this case that is talking about this Macedonia Bible College and Leadership Esteem Bible College, honorary degrees. You go to their websites, it's not lining up. One school didn't get accredited until 2017. And all of these degrees are 2005 or later. And so you have to then ponder and say, is this truly do you truly have a degree? And so this lawsuit has opened up, which if the court doesn't want to grant the anti-SLAPP motion has been filed, we're going to get the transcripts. She's going to have to prove that she's an actual PhD from an accredited university, because my client's allegations was that it's not from an accredited institution.
Well, here's a question that I have, and then you guys can ask Oliver a question. If in a prior court proceeding, because I'm studying to be like you guys, I want to be an attorney. In a prior court proceeding, under oath, she swore that she went to Texas A&M, South Carolina, and Temple. But she was never able, according to the court file documents that I viewed, she was never able to prove that to the court. Well, so let me just finish. So now we're in this arena with the suit against Aubrey, and all of those schools changed to Macedonia. Yes. So my question to you, has the statute of limitations expired on the perjury that she committed? Well, that I think that she committed. I think it's perjury that she may have committed in that prior court case.
Now, I haven't seen her sworn testimony yet from that. What we were able to locate was an evaluator report. And so if the information was given to the evaluator and the evaluator reports it to the court, there's kind of a caveat to that it's not going to be it gets in a hazy gray area as to the allegation of a perjury or whatnot. But what it shows is that you presented information to a court, knowing that it was going to be used in a court proceeding, in order to make yourself in some type of light to gain custody. And in fact, now here you are in a different court proceeding. Let me put myself in a different light. So at the bare minimum, it shows a lack of trustworthiness.
Chuck, Gary, I'll tell you where she's got some issues. She's been making millions of dollars with her foster care business. And if she's been filing with the state to prove up, to get ahead of other candidates and to make extra money based on the fact that she's claiming to be a doctor or have a doctorate, now she's got big time problems because she's filing false documents with the state related to money. And so, I mean, that's hanging out there.
Well, and let me clarify on that, right? I haven't looked into, and so one of the issues that keeps coming out from the other side is that, well, what's the public interest in it? This is private matter. Well, first of all, you're holding yourself out to be a doctor, right? Whether it be MD or PhD, you're holding your education out to be a doctor. So therefore, you've put it in public for public discourse in regards to that, right? And so if you're going to call yourself that, then you can't get mad if someone says, well, let me go question if you're really a doctor. So, but then I guess the larger issue is, if you're saying you have a doctoral degree in a custody dispute, why isn't you saying the same thing now in this present action where you're suing my client, trying to hold him responsible for lots of dollars?
That's what I found very, very unusual. And then I don't get it with some of these people they don't realize when they become public figures that you lose some of your protection as a private citizen. That's something I had to learn, being who I am. There's some things I didn't want discussed, but I'm a public figure. So it's like it's fair game. And I really don't care what anybody says about me. I really don't. I mean, I've been called a misogynist. I've been called everything under the sun. But the only thing that I can say is prove it. When you can prove it, then I'll get out the game. But until you can prove it, I'm not getting out the game. Now, I looked at some court file documents, and I've been looking at these court file documents. And according to what I'm grasping, is that some of these documents that I've been looking at, that I may have shared on the show, and I had every right to share them, that I shouldn't have been able to share. And I'm confused, because if they're court file documents, why can't we publicly display them?
Well, they're already publicly displayed within the court files. So, like, and let me clear up something here. Everyone keeps telling me this public figure and private. Yeah, and we're all private citizens, and then some people become so notorious that they're public figures. Michael Jordan, for instance, right? But here's the issue. My client's being sued. Let's just call her a private citizen. It's already in the public domain. A court has already ruled on this in public court, in open court. So it's no expectation of privacy. You see what I'm saying? You don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy within court filings. You don't, unless the court filing was completely sealed. And in this instance, the court itself wrote in its docket sheet that there was concerns about truthfulness, and then there was concerns about her involvement towards her ex-husband. All of this stuff is what a judge has said in open court, wrote it in a docket sheet, and published it on a district clerk website. They used to publish stuff like this just on the courthouse front door. You know, when they do evictions and stuff, they file it, and there you'll see a big stack of paper. It's not private that you're being evicted. It's public, so people can see it. It's a court document. So the notion of private citizen, you can't talk about that, is just a bunch of stuff. Yeah, there it is. That's the docket sheet. That's what. And so what people, when you're looking at this, what that document is in the old days, the court would get your file. It'd be in a manila envelope and had lines on it, and they would just handwrite on their notes, or they would have a docket sheet that went into the folder. Now they digitize it, and it's typed up. It gives you the date, and then it says clearly what the judge's thoughts, rulings, why they ruled some way. Some of these new Democrat judges, they go really detailed, was citing to law as to why they ruled a certain way, which it helps the public to understand what their thinking was. And so this stuff was already in there. It was already talking about, they were worried about her truthfulness. So, but we're in a lawsuit about truthfulness. You're saying my client is lying, but the court here is worried about your truthfulness.
So when it comes to these public, court file documents, this particular document where I have it highlighted, I wanted to highlight that section. Who wrote this section right here in this document? Who would have
the court of you got to look at the top, whatever court number that was, and in that year, there's been a switch in judges. I can't recall who the judge was in the what court is that? 507. That 2015 could have been, God dang, I don't want to misquote which judge wrote that, but it wasn't the present judge. I think it's Maldonado's out of the 507. It wasn't her. This was before it would have been one of the Republican judges that was on the bench then.
Well,
so
let me read this highlighted section to the people. It says the evaluator does have some concerns about the mother's truthfulness throughout the evaluation. She was not forthcoming in regards to the residents that were residing in the maternal grandmother's home. The court shares those same concerns regarding diversity and credibility of the mother, especially in light of her body language, attitude, and responses while on the witness stand, and what's that word?
I can't see it. Exacerbated.
By her intentional disregard for previous court orders of this court. So that sounds like the court felt that she was being untruthful.
Yes, that's the court's own annotation based upon its evaluators that it appointed within that matter. So that's a court. That's an open court. There may even be a record where he or she said this on the record, but even if she didn't or he didn't, the judge didn't say it, they typed it into this document to say this. And so when I'm evaluating my client's case, I go and find this. I go, well then you're attacking my guy for truthfulness, but the court is saying this. That's not me. That's not my client's opinion. That's a court. So what do we do with that? You know, I mean, do I just sit back and go, well, she's right about everything she's saying about my client? No, you don't. You got to defend them. And then coupled with this inconsistency in education, one can reasonably believe that she's not truthful about the education.
Now, when you say that, I got another court file document, and I highlighted some stuff over here. Let me go to it. Let me see. Where is it? Where did I put it at? I think I went too far. Hold on for a second. I just had all this pulled up. Okay. Let's start right there. Now, when you question and this is from a court case. So when you question this, according to what was said in this case, however it was said, it says she reported that she received her doctorate in educational leadership from the University of South Carolina in 2005. She reported that she also has a master's degree in education from Temple University in 2001 and a bachelor's degree in sociology from Temple University in 2000.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why that's strange to me. Because I think that most universities will not let you go over 18 hours per semester. 18 hours. Yeah. And what caught me as odd and strange is that you went from a bachelor's to a master's at a prestigious university in 1 year.
Yeah.
You did 120 hours to get a bachelor's. That's normally what you have to get in 1 calendar year. It's not possible.
Well, I would disagree with you on it. For the bachelor's date, that would be date of issue. And this is the way I look at it, right? So you have the 2001 date, and then it's like 1 year later, a 2-year degree. I may even go with you on that if you were somehow joint or whatever, right? But then the doctoral, to do your dissertation and all this other stuff, it takes more than just 3 years to go through that process. I mean, law school is a 3-year process plus the bar. It almost breaks down to a 4-year commitment. You know, PhDs are some of they go over time to get, you know, so that was concerning. But if we only had this document, then would be a fair summation. We can say, all right, maybe someone's just really, really smart. But you have to compare it to social media, and now you have to compare it to this lawsuit. And so nowhere in there does it say anything about honorary degree in 2000 and whatever that she's already filed from Leadership Esteem Academy up in Spring. And nowhere in there does she make any mention about Macedonia. She never posted that on her social media. And so I think it's fair to say that this is not an accurate reflection of her education. One or the other is not an accurate reflection.
Well, inside of the court file documents, there were stuff. There were 3 documents that looked like degrees from Macedonia.
Yeah, I've seen those.
After I've inspected them, because I wasn't really. Now I'm gonna tell you this. Now you might be the lawyer, but I really wasn't that truthful when I was in youth sports. I cheated because they were cheating me. So I used to have to make things to make it work for my babies. But after I blew the documents up, I mean, the lines ain't connecting. You know, you don't have people's official titles under signatures. There's no official stamp. So I don't know if you want to give your strategy away, but how will you be able to determine if these so-called degrees that have been now put into the court file, if they're actually legitimate degrees?
Well, I mean, her lawyer's a smart guy. He knows what will happen. Is that we'll end up doing discovery on it. You know, we will ask not for these degrees. I will, one, let me see the original. Okay, so I can see that to authenticate that document. But we also need to find the transcripts, the corresponding transcripts. And that will probably have to come from the universities themselves or the schools or whatever they're called. So, I mean, I'm not going to rely just solely on that, but there's a multitude of ways of proving it up. And additionally, we can retain experts to take a look at the documents that have already been filed. You know, we're working on getting some experts right now to take a look at those documents that have been filed. So it's going to be an issue that has to be litigated. And I'm not going to go into all the litigation, but again, to sit there and say that my client is totally off and totally baseless is just is an insane comment. My client is not just out here trying to malign people and you know, for some type of, you know, whatever reason. He's reported on it, and to me, it's truthful. And I think any reasonable person would consider that a truthful statement.
Chuck and Aubrey, you can ask questions. Do that for me. I'm looking for something.
Yeah, man. I don't have a whole lot to say tonight, man.
Yeah, I would shut him up anyway. So
yeah.
What I would
he's already in enough trouble.
What I would say, Gary, is what about all the collateral damage of this little bomb thrower that they sent out to go after Aubrey and the rest of us? I mean, she's caused a lot of collateral damage now because somebody thought it would be a good idea to, you know, throw this person out there on us to attack us, and it just caused a red flag for everything.
Chuck, hold on.
Yes,
General, let me address Chuck real quick. That's a very good point, but that's exactly why the Texas legislature created the anti-SLAPP bill, because what people were doing is, I don't like you. So what, and I've seen posts about this where it's, oh, we're going to shut his business down. We're going to come after your business with a bunch of frivolous nonsense. And so what they do is they sue to give some type of credibility. That's exactly why my response was not just a general denial and affirmative defense of truth, but it was, in fact, I went and briefed in detail why what my client is saying is truthful. And so because it has such detrimental effect. There's a lot of politicians that rely upon this paper. Their intent was to scare these people off. And I need to assure those people that have done business that this isn't some just smut magazine, just, you know, like the Inquirer just makes up alien stories and stuff like that. He was simply saying, who is this person that's in a pivotal position within the Democrat Party that's out here trying to hold everyone accountable? Well, let's look at if she holds her own self accountable. If you're going to be an accountability chair, you're holding yourself out as some type of moral compass. And so at that point, that's when it becomes a public issue. And we're not even getting into the fact that you own a business that's responsible for children that are taken away from their parents by the state. Okay. So yes, there's a public interest to find out who owns these type of businesses. DFPS was sued down in Corpus Christi in federal court. They found out horrible things happen to kids in CPS. Now, I'm not saying that she has anything to do with that, but what I am saying is that that's a reason why the public would be concerned and want to know who's behind these type of businesses.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something, and we're gonna come back to that. I want to circle back to that. Now, you've seen what was submitted as a document for a degree from Macedonia is in the court file documents. Am I correct?
Yeah, I've reviewed it. Yes, sir.
Does it look anything like this?
With the exception of this logo in the top left-hand corner, it appears that the document that's been put in court has that logo, but it's like more centered. It looks nothing like that.
Well, that is
nothing like the document.
That is, and I want to look at you when I say this. That is an actual degree from Macedonia, and it don't look nothing like what's in them court documents. Now, ain't nobody on this program seen this document until I just put it up there. It looks nothing like that.
Yeah.
Now, when you say that we have a public interest, kids are my thing. That's what I really do. I do children. And it's disturbing to me that the state of Texas would allow somebody to operate a business that deals with children whom the state of Texas has had to take children from. That I didn't understand.
Well, here's where I was concerned. Now, when I first started my practice, a lot of lawyers know there's good money to be made in family law. And there's a lot of good family attorneys out there, right? And you see, when you're sitting in court, you see CPS having to intervene because, you know, the state does have some very valid cases to remove these children. But what I'm more concerned about is if it's determined that she manages one of these entities, and does she have to make court appearances to report on the children? If so, then how does the court rectify her past misdealings as far as truthfulness to the court? And so this is the same family courts that are here, go over there and stay at this business residence or whatnot, or we rely upon their evaluations. How can the court allow this without investigating it further? And I think DFPS needs to investigate it to make sure, or they may not be aware of it. So these issues are very concerning about these children. That you have someone running a business that basically in their own case was determined to not be forthcoming.
Well, let me address a comment because I gotta address it. And I can't put it on this screen, so I gotta read it. Robert Williams, regardless of who's right, wrong, or indifferent in this issue, it just rubs me to see a white boy on a black show dogging black people. You can't make right out of that if you say you fight for our people. My last time watching. Well, let me tell you something, my friend. You wake up every morning supporting a white president that don't do a damn thing for black people. You woken up every morning prior to that supporting a black president that didn't do a damn thing for black people. And I'm gonna tell you like this here. I don't count my white friends. I got a slew of them. Chuck is my friend. He ain't going nowhere. So if you don't want to watch no more, don't watch. Chuck made one comment. I'm talking about the girl that's your friend. The girl that you walk around with and you support on a daily, who running around here being fraudulent with our people in our community. Don't worry about the white boy. Worry about the black girl that's fraudulent. And if you don't want to watch no more, guess I lost a friend then, homie.
Hey, Gary, I think that Robert Williams might be the one that I looked up some information on today. So, I mean, he needs to think about who's paying him or who's pushing him to target me and target your show, because if it's the same one I think it is,
the war zone ain't going nowhere. Let me tell you how this works right now. The lie that's being perpetuated, and I've said it before, is the Republicans are putting us up to this. There ain't no Republican putting me up to anything. There ain't no Republican putting up Arbery to anything. But I'm going to speak on Gary Monroe. I've challenged every one of y'all on the Democratic side. Do I need to release my tax returns? I don't have a problem. Do I need to release my bank statements? I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem showing you anything because ain't nobody paid me nothing. Now, if you're willing to come to my community and look how raggedy the streets are, how the crime is being thrown under the bus, how my schools are failing, if you're willing to do that, then let's sit down and talk. So until then, it ain't no white folk that's screwing my community. It's them black folk that y'all are supporting. And because I'm calling them out the same way I call white politicians out, we have a problem with it at the moment. I'll stop supporting Chuck when you stop supporting Biden.
You know, I want to say something about the Democrat Party right now. I've been very proud in the past of certain things that the Democrats have done. When I was a kid, Bill Clinton was our president. I thought he was the coolest president ever. And then we ended up with Barack Obama. I liked Obama. What I'm seeing now, though, is that there's this transformation in politics that we're just going into light politics. We're not looking at leadership history of these people. When anything negative said about someone, whether it's true, even when it's true, they still just say, "Oh, you're attacking them because they're a Democrat or because they're a Republican." When we're not actually having a discussion as to what the hell's going on. Okay, so we have the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats, and they're out there trying to help with voter rights, etc. Nothing wrong with that, right? However, if people are going to go out and start attacking leaders on their issues, then they first need to make sure that they're the type of person that can do that. You see? And so this whole, because a white person is saying it, well, y'all let white people talk all the time in the Democrat Party. Now, why is it because a white guy's on this show that all of a sudden he has to be attacked because he's white? Well, that's just race-based politics, and it has to stop. The bottom line is they said that my client was lying, and they're too goddamn lazy to go out there and read the pleadings. They're going to just listen to someone who bangs the drum the loudest. Okay, so we have to come on here to get the message out that my client did not lie. And so I take great exception in Mr. Williams saying that, and I wish he would apologize about it.
Can I say something? Hey, yeah. Gary, you have access to your computer?
I'm sitting at it.
I mean, yeah, you sit at your computer. I mean, Google. Go on Google right quick if you can. I want you to pull up something. Type in the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats in Google and go and search for a campaign finance report. What you're going to see is a blank screen, dude. I'm not talking about the Harris County chapter. I'm talking about the state chapter.
I am right now.
There's going to have to be, look.
If you can pull that up for people.
There's going to have to be a fundamental change. The Democrat Party made all these gains within Harris County. And now here it is. You've got all these little factions that are doing all this little stuff. I mean, I've got another client, innocently charged. I'm getting ready to write another 50-page brief showing how it was politics and it was Democrats behind it that tried to run him into the ground. This has to stop. They're now they're literally out here talking about, I'm for criminal justice reform. And then I represent someone that had a criminal past and tried to run. And me and Gary, we've disagreed on this. That's fine. But what we're not doing is running people into the ground. But where were all those justice reform people? They weren't nowhere around. They all scattered like roaches. Okay? Whether my client was right or wrong, I don't give a damn what you think. Where was justice reformers standing up saying, yeah, we do need to get this fixed? They haven't got nothing. It's lip service is what they're doing. And the problem I'm having with Democrat Party is they're using too many African-American issues to get them in office. They get in office and then poof, they disappear on it. They disappear on it. And so it's got to stop.
Yeah.
It absolutely has to stop. I mean, hell, I can sit here and pontificate about stuff that I disagree with the Republican Party. But the Republican Party isn't sitting there selling me on a bunch of bull crap for me and then not doing it. They just say we're not doing it. All right, good. Don't do it.
You see what I'm talking about, Gary?
I'm trying to get it up. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm trying
That's
to
okay
get
if
it
you
up.
can get it.
I'm trying to get the actual link. Okay, there we go. All right, so this is what we're going to do. I'm going to open the screen up right here, and I'm going to stop this screen, and I'm going to share this other screen. And then we're going to tell y'all exactly what we're doing. Okay, so we're going to share this screen. Let's make sure. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we're going to do right now, we are going to research and pull it up for you right now. Their campaign finance report, and they should have multiple years of these finance reports for the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats, the state level. Okay, so here we go. I'm going back in. Let's make sure. So you can see me, right? By filer name, right?
Yes.
So let's put it in here. Texas Coalition of Black Democrats. I hit enter. It's now going to open up another page. Okay, if you guys can see that, let me blow it up a little bit. If it can go bigger. Okay. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, when we put that name in, you get 4 things come up, right? So Aubrey, explain to them what we're looking at.
Well, on the one at the top is going to be that state chapter. You can see the second one. You're going to see well that's been dissolved, and then you'll see the third one is going to be the Texas Coalition Black Democrats Harris County. If you go into that one, what you're going to see is they've been inactive since 2014. But I'm saying click on the first one, which is the state chapter of the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats.
No. Let's not do that. Let's click on Midland first. Let's click Midland and let's see what comes up. Okay. So they did their last filing on July 13, 2021. It was due on July 15. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can
I don't
see
anything.
I don't see it.
Hold on.
I don't see it.
Hold on. Let me go back. Okay, hold on. That's because it opened up another page. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
So that means I got to stop that screen. I got to share it. I thought it was just going to do it like that. So now we're looking at, let me make sure I got the right one so we can close that one. Okay, bear with me because it don't help you with that. Okay, let's see. Now, can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. All right, you can see that it was due on July 15, 2021. They filed it on July 13, 2021, and that's in Midland. So if you want to look at the PDF version of it, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the way it would look right there. So I'm gonna just click from page to page. Okay, so here, let's see how much money they don't look like they had no money, but just a whole pack, no money, no political expenditures, no money came in, no nothing. But I think the good thing is Mr. Aubrey, is that they did their paperwork, right?
You did.
Okay, so now we show you how we find out if they've done what they needed to do. Okay, so now let's back up out of here. I'm gonna have to reopen it, y'all. Okay. Oh man.
I didn't want to get us off on this, but this is very important with this Robert Williams, what he's talking.
Okay, so now we're gonna go back in. Let me make sure y'all can see that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go by filer's name again. We're gonna put their name in. Texas Coalition of Black Democrats. Let's go in here. Okay, so now we're back to where we were. So we looked at Midland, right? So now let's go to the one that's the state level. That's the first one, right, Aubrey?
Yes.
Okay, let's see their paperwork and how they filed their paperwork. Ain't no damn paperwork. So now I gotta let me kill that screen. So now we gotta share that screen. Y'all bear with me because it don't let you automatically go over all reports. You see what I see?
Blank screen.
That mean ain't no paperwork been filed. So all this money that's been coming in, where the paperwork to back it up? Now you got the flow, my friend. Let me show y'all why. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This not Oliver. This not Chuck. This not Aubrey. This Gary Monroe. I'm gonna show y'all why you don't want to fuck with me. Explain it to him, bro.
Man, I tell you. So what you have here is now what we find out today is that there's a new organization, one of the new organizations that we talked about, that's called the Texas Black Democrats PAC, that these guys have started. Inside of there, they've got this guy who just came on here talking this crap. They gave him a donation, this Robert Williams guy, back on 5/21, 2021. Now, here's the thing. They gave him $250 out of that. But when I look over to what's supposed to be his, the organization that he's with, that's called, that one's called the Alliance for New Justice System. What we need for Mr. Robert Williams to figure out and to tell us is how there were only 2 donations to this particular group. Okay. You got one, the treasurer gave him $1,000, but Mr. Robert Williams on 4/28/2021 gave them $35,449. $35,449 on his on their expenditure sheet. All you see are trips to hotels. You got here on 4/29 CC hotel reservation for lodging. Then you got a Price Inn Embassy Suites for lodging. Price Inn Candlewood Suite. I'm just gonna stop right there. Now, when you go back to the other organization, what you find here, this is the organization that Carole gave the first $100 to, and then you have Antron is the treasurer. What you're going to find here is there's a company here that they gave most of their expenditures to that's called American Technology Consulting. That's American Technology Consulting. I called this company today at 515-974-5619. This particular company, the one that I called, said that they had no chapter in Washington, D.C., that this Texas Black Democrat PAC is reporting. But even though there's no PAC, they have an address here of 2993 Capitol Street in Washington, D.C. Chuck, what do you know about that?
That's a bogus address. So I looked it up. The zip code doesn't even come back to Washington, D.C. It comes back to a totally different state. That address, they don't even give the full, like it wouldn't, it's just not an accurate address in Washington, D.C. So why would somebody give false addresses, give a fictitious name of a business related to this money? It's going to be corruption.
Yeah, so what you have here is back on January 25th, 2021, this new PAC that Carole and Antron and those guys have set up supposedly paid this PAC a consultant fee of $1,687 back on 4/13/2021. This PAC also paid this company in consultant fees $1,950. This American Technology Consulting also got paid $3,000 back on 4/5/2021. You look here again on 6/7, which was not even a month and a half ago. They got another $1,800, but that's not it. I'm not gonna stop there. When you go down that this campaign finance report that this political action committee that Carole gave the first $100 to, and the treasurer is Antron Johnson. They list another political action committee called Black Austin PAC. Say that they gave them $500. When I look there, I don't see any reports of that $500 being paid to this Black Austin Democrats PAC. But I did see where someone during that same period had donated some money to them. So that showed up, but no money from this PAC that Corolla and those guys have. I also looked up the Black El Paso Democrats. Antron and those guys, I guess on their campaign finance report saying they gave them $500. If you can look here, that says, I don't know if you can see it, but my handwriting says empty. There's nothing, no report for this particular political action committee, and the list just goes on and on and on. So we're going to look into this thing a little bit further, but I can tell you, man, it's not looking good for these guys. They're playing around. We also got a situation. I'm going to skip to the back of their report. On the back of their report, there's a company that they call Woven Strategies. That's WOVEN Strategies that they paid monies to. That particular company comes back to the address for Antron Johnson. Antron. His same address.
Again?
Yeah. 1034 30. They paid $330, and they paid another $1,700 to this company that comes back to his address. So it looks like to me, when I look over this report, man, I'm gonna tell you, most of those, unless they're going to file late reports or something, some of them have no report showing. These boys got a problem, man. They're playing around, and they're playing a dangerous game right now.
Let me, and hold on. And see, what I want the viewers to understand, though, is that in Houston, there should be investigative journalism like this. I see people out here already trying to attack me. I don't give a fuck with what article you go look up, okay? You can go look up whatever your name is, Dallas. I'm pretty sure it's a fake name or whatever. I don't care about that because it's false, okay? They can do whatever they want. You can come out October 4th. Watch me on trial, okay? I didn't know you get your little kicks off. Look what I found. I don't care about that because I'm innocent, never did anything. I'm not worried about it. I don't have to be worried about that because I believe our system is designed to work. Okay. And
so let me ask you a question. But with the Dallas O'Brien dude, you want to bring up something on Oliver, but we bringing all this up. You don't want to talk about this.
And look, I'm under representation in regards to that, but I encourage you, go to the district court website and look at the pleadings that I have on file, because what happens is with the media, and this is why you need good investigative journalism like Mr. Taylor, is because they don't report the full story. They're not giving it all. And I got tired of hearing Donald Trump, the fake news. That shit got so old so quick, right? But what I'm also seeing now is I am seeing a very biased lens in media. And so when someone like Mr. Taylor comes out and starts reporting on certain stuff, all we do is just devolve into these personal attacks and all this, bull crap, when all he was doing is reporting. He's literally, this is information that you could go get yourself. But most people don't have the time. I get it. You've got your life going on. So he's putting it into an easy reader format so you can make a decision for yourself. You may see this and very well say, you know what? We need to get on them. They need to be more responsible about their filing. That's a very logical deduction to make from that, okay? But it's not being done right now. It needs to be corrected. They need people to come in. Maybe they're understaffed, okay? There may be a reason for it, right? But we don't sit there and attack a journalist just for bringing the information forward, because now you're just engaging in like politics. Someone should be like, yeah, I would like to support the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats. What's wrong with that? Go ahead and support it. But they have to also follow their reporting mechanism. And if they don't have people within their organization to do it, then they need to find people that are out there that are willing to volunteer, that are willing to do it. So But if we're going to sit there and try to run a guy out of business like Mr. Taylor, who's simply bringing up the fact, then we'll never know this information. There may be nothing nefarious about this coalition. They may just be completely overwhelmed trying to fight justice issues. But at the end of the day, they still have to comply with that rule by the Ethics Commission. So don't sit there and attack the journalists. Go to your organization and say, hey, guys, y'all need to get on this because I want to support you more.
What, to me, and I'm going to say this as nice as I can. Us as Black people, we want to stay complicit when it's time to call out our own. And that's why it's so easy for them to do the things that they do to us. It's so easy to mislead us because we want to believe that they are out here and they are fighting for us and they're doing everything in their power. I don't have the blinders on no more. I don't have the blinders on no more. I know you're not working for my community, and I know you're not working for Black people. You folks have put together a political pyramid scheme, and it's falling apart. It's falling apart. And I'm going to be honest with you. If I have to take it to the Attorney General myself, I'll take everything I got. And you know why? Because in order for us to get to where we need to go, we got to clean these cockroaches out of our kitchen. And some of these Black people, you are skin folk, but you ain't our kinfolk. Let's get that straight. And the only reason you have a problem with us is because we're telling the truth. If we were saying this about a white person or a white Republican, you wouldn't have anything to say. But it's our people that are screwing us. And you're taking the narrative and you're trying to make like it's all these Republicans and these white folks doing this to us. Ain't no white folk making y'all run a political pyramid scheme. That's all y'all Black people doing that. And y'all done sucked in other people. And you know what's so amazing? God damn it, if you're going to get caught up, do like the lady in Arizona. Let it be for $5 million. You dudes getting caught up on $1,000? Y'all really out there crumbing. You really putting yourself in a position to go to the federal penitentiary, and you don't want to accept the fact that you are out here selling us out for crumbs. You can keep coming on with your fake pages. Dude, now you're John Bailey. Dude, I'm going to tell you like this here. Oliver is a businessman. He's an attorney. Used to be a pilot. He came from somewhere. God helped him. Aubrey, God done worked on him. Chuck, I'm a sinner in training, boy. And all I do is drink Miller with pillars. So make sure you tailor-make your conversation for a sucker and don't come at me. It's the reason why you people don't come at me. Hold on, because I got to give it to them. You folk don't scare me. I ride everywhere I need to ride in that 300 with that thing sitting on that front seat. You better stay in your little blue-collar lane with your white-collar crimes and don't step over here. Don't step over here. Don't step over here. Because I'm 53 years old and my finger worked perfectly. Now sit your $5 ass down before I locate you and make change, boy.
Now, I don't know who the John Bailey, they're saying that, well, you're attacking Miss Matthews. No, my client was sued saying that he said fraudulent stuff. So he didn't attack her. He's the defendant in this matter. So maybe you're just logging in, but he didn't attack her. What happened is that he was just like he was just now investigating some of this stuff, that now everyone wants to sit there and attack him for what he finds. He's not making the stuff up. He's simply putting it out there. You can dismiss it, but you don't sit there. I mean, y'all don't sit there and attack CNN with like, you need to go get your vaccine. y'all sit there and say people are crazy when someone attacks someone for saying to go get a vaccine, right? So don't sit there behind your little keyboard and say this nonsense. My client was simply doing a job of what journalism is supposed to be. That's the foundation of society. It's going back to the beginning of this country. You would report on this stuff. That's why we have a First Amendment. And so he sat there and exercises it, and then all you want to do is continue to badmouth them. It's like there's no place in it.
What they want us to do is they want us to tell the truth, but they want us to tell their truth. What you want me to do is tell these people that Jesse Jackson is the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm going to say he ain't did nothing for black people.
Jesse Jackson was out there attacking our first black president. Remember, he was the one cut that nigga's nuts off. Okay. And so what I'm seeing that's very scary about our democracy is that we are now, you can only like a politician. Okay. There's many politicians within Harris County that I can fundamentally disagree with them on something and then agree with them on something. Y'all want all these people to be like little pet Negroes and let them just pet them on the head. No, that's not what that is not what democracy is. It's okay. Me and Mr. Monroe disagree about my client, my other client. Okay, it's okay. That's all right. I don't hate this man. I agreed to come on his show, and I disagree with him. But what we're saying is that when someone just presents factual information, you don't go attack the person presenting the fact. Now, if he was presenting BS, one, I wouldn't be involved in it. Okay. And two, if it's BS, then yeah, he does need to be censored out of the thing. But this isn't that case. Y'all got tired of Donald Trump saying stuff, and y'all like, God damn, this man's just making up stuff. Y'all were tired of it. But now it's like, oh, someone cannot use facts to discuss what's going on in local politics? Come on.
No, they don't want us to use facts because all of them getting a little change on the side, and it's gonna mess up their money. That's why they don't want us to say nothing. But I just want to tell y'all this here, so nobody can ever get it twisted about how I feel. Jesse Jackson garbage. John Lewis was garbage. Elijah Cummings was garbage. Maxine Waters is garbage. Peter Jackson Lee is garbage. Ain't none of these people doing nothing for black people. Ain't none of them did nothing for black people. Barack Obama garbage. I'm just letting you know. Well, I mean, but that's your opinion.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And
but I don't have to come
at that about it. But the problem is here in Harris County, why should I put Rodney Ellis on a pedestal when you ain't doing nothing for black people? Why should I put him on a pedestal? I see you making bike lanes in the Memorial area. You making sure that people getting, their houses are rebuilt. But I still got folk in my community with yellow tarps on their houses from the last hurricane. I got people in my community that can't seem to get none of that funding that y'all keep putting out here every 2 or 3 months. They can't qualify for it. Why? Every time you look up, we in beg mode in our community. And I'm supposed to continuously uphold these people. No, I can't. And I will never do it. Do your job. And I don't have a problem rocking with you. But if you ain't doing your job, you're going to get the business. Black or white. Republican or Democrat. And that's what it is. So if it's about being black and doing what you need to do, can somebody tell me anything good Kamala Harris did since she's been in office? I'm waiting.
Honestly, I haven't been watching a lot of the national play. I had to turn off the TV because
no. I'm talking to the people out there in
yeah.
What has she done?
This is my thing. I support Harris on. A lot of people always say, "Oh, it's symbolic," and symbolism doesn't mean anything. I do believe symbolism does mean something. So I support her from the standpoint of what symbolically she stands for. It shows to young ladies that, hey, you can rise to the top. You know, I hear a lot of these negative attacks on her trying to say, oh, you slept your way to the top and stuff. I don't give a damn how you got there. You got there. Okay. So knock yourself out. If that's how you had to get to the White House, you did better than me in life, and you look damn professional at doing it. So, and honestly, vice presidents, let's just be very honest, they haven't been, that's not their role. It really is not their role. It's more of a ceremonial position. Biden didn't do anything as vice president. The only vice president that was real active was Cheney.
The 50 that went down there on the private jet, and I've always said, even though, you know, I know that there's voter fraud, if you believe in something, fight for it. So they got on that plane and they left and they went to fight for it. The only thing y'all didn't do right, I'm gonna tell you what you didn't do right, because you'd have met with everybody except Biden. Biden ain't met with you right. What you should have did, and since y'all keep going back to the Jim Crow era, what you should have did, and you still got time if you don't, goes and gets you a horse, drives your horse up to the back door of the White House, and tell them to go in there and tell Massa Joe that all the refugees from Texas is at the back door. I guarantee you Massa Joe will come to the back door and meet you, because you ain't going through the front door. You ain't going through the front door. My Latino brothers, let me remind you, especially with education, when it came to Brown versus the Board of Education, there was a brief that was, you know, filed before then. It was Mendez versus Ecuador County. That's what Thurgood actually studied. And you know what they felt like? Y'all can go to the back door with them. They felt like Mexicans were pigs and needed to live in pigsties. So why don't y'all go to the back door on your horse and see if old Massa Joe will come out and talks to y'all. Or maybe you can go get your overseer, Mr. Jim Clyburn, since he can deliver Negroes, and see if he can get you a meeting. Until then, be a good end for Massa.
General, boy, this show is more fun than I thought it was going to be. So, I mean, people, just stop attacking it. You lost your mic, man.
I believe that Aubrey has a great case. I believe that you two great attorneys are going to battle it out in a court of law. If it gets to that point, I don't think it should even get there. I think there needs to be some common sense to prevail from somewhere to where it doesn't have to get there. But if you get there, you battle. Whoever wins, wins. If it goes to appeal or whatever, then whoever wins, wins. But this thing where you think, I'm going to get rid of the white boy, let me tell y'all something. I call on the white boy when I can't call on you Negroes. I can call on the white boy to help me do anything. And he can call on me and I'll do anything he asks me to do. So Chuck ain't going nowhere. Chuck ain't going nowhere. The same way you got white friends, I got some too, and I'm rocking with him. Aubrey ain't going nowhere, because there's nothing I've ever seen him publish that was not truthful and factual. The problem is y'all doing too much. And criminals don't get caught, they get comfortable. Y'all are comfortable, and now you're making mistakes. But all of this happens because the good doctor did not want to leave us alone. So the person you should be looking at is the good doctor, because without her, we know none of this stuff.
And Gary, I'll add for Williams to understand. I'll tell you what racism is when white Republicans ran Harris County, and they didn't care that crooks ran black neighborhoods or Hispanic neighborhoods, and they did nothing to help and get them out of politics in those areas. That's racism, because they didn't care that some crook run a black neighborhood or a Hispanic neighborhood. They left it alone because they didn't care. No, I'll tell you, that's racism, to not care that somebody next to you is being cheated by crooks.
Yeah, I mean, it's one reason why I've stayed out of politics is because the money is infiltrated so bad. And then the supporters, again, if they like someone, that person can do something totally wrong, completely wrong, and they continue to try to justify it. The bottom line is you have to hold these people accountable. If you don't, that's when they're going to run amok. It's just that simple. All the way around. PACs, we know for years have been a problem. They've been a huge problem. So you got to hold them accountable. You need to know where the money's coming from, where the money's going, what's behind these agendas, you know? And so, you know, and if we start silencing people like Jerry and Aubrey, what are we going to be left with? Read the Chronicle. The Chronicle is in bed with darn near every politician. They are bought and paid for. Channel 2, I've been on there many a times. I've given them stories, okay? This whole voter fraud thing, it's true. It's true. There's an actual meal out there. And I can't go into a lot of detail because of certain clients and things of that nature, but it's true. It exists, you know? The federal government is looking at it, you know? I get people, you know, are upset with what happened on January 6th, you know, but we also need to keep in mind that there are people like in local elections that are going out here getting stacks of ballots, going to old people homes, having people with dementia and everything else. They bubble it in for them, have them scribble, scratch their signature, they mail it and send it in. In a city election, 5,000 votes can change the whole thing. That heck, I can't remember what the numbers were between my client and matter of fact, heck, my client and the lady that was in the lawsuit or whatever. I mean, that was very thin margins, you know. And I'm not accusing saying fraud was in that election, but imagine if it was, then that would sway the entire vote.
Well, I tell you what, can I deliver some Christmas presents? One Christmas present right now, if y'all guys don't mind. Can I do that?
Sure. And
I'm gonna call myself Belly Claus. Belly Claus. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna hold my belly on this one because I want to deliver this to the Democratic Party. Criminals don't get caught; they get comfortable. And what I mean by that, y'all slipped up this week. How do you send out an incomplete early ballot? An incomplete early ballot. And what I mean by that incomplete, everybody's not even gotten on the ballot yet for November. Now there's a problem, so let me deliver this gift to you. Go tells Overseer Ellis and Overseer Turner that you got some mail coming from the Texas State Supreme Court. Oh, I signed on to the lawsuit. Y'all gonna give me a fair election in November if I got to take one, partner. Think we don't know what you're doing? I told you I'm gonna give it to y'all, bro.
You know what my observation is, General? My observation is that the checks and balances aren't in place in these institutions. Like the Democrat Party was so the underdog for such a long time, and now they're growing exponentially, but they don't have the infrastructure in place for checks and balances. Now, is that on purpose? I don't know. I don't have any evidence to show that. But the issue is as that party continues to grow, they need to start sitting down, having checks and balances. These type of mistakes start looking fishy to people when you're saying whatever you just said. I've never heard of it, but again, they need to start working on their internal infrastructure to make sure that they have auditing procedures in effect in order to make sure that the party is run efficiently. And I think too long it's been a small, good old boy club. And then now they're getting all these people involved. And then no one seems to know who's running what, who's doing what, and they're having some communication breakdown. There's going to have to be a sit down within that party to do an overhaul and audit on their checks and balances of how they do business. Because if not, they're going to run into a lot of freaking systematic problems.
So when you put Mo, Larry, and Curly in one room, and the conversation kind of sound like, "Oh, which way do they go? Which way do they go? What we gonna accomplish?" Man, these people dumb as a bag of rocks, Oliver. They dumb as a bag of rocks. They committing white collar crimes. They keep getting caught, And now I got some mail coming to y'all. Compliments of Gary Monroe, Texas State Supreme Court. I keep telling y'all, I ain't dealing with them courts downtown Houston. I ain't dealing with them state courts. I'm strictly gonna bust you in your behind, man. Told you stay out of my race. Now you go tells old Mr. Ellis, because when Dr. Muhammad spoke at the meeting yesterday, Mr. Ellis, and I know you watch it, you quoted a song. You remember what that song was? Smiling in your face all the time. They're trying to take your place. Well, Snoop Dogg wrote a song too, called Some of You Commissioners is Bitches Too. I don't bar you, partner, at all. Say, I tell you what, final thoughts, Chuck.
No, I appreciate what you do, Gary. And, you know, the Chronicle and all the rest of them, local news, none of them allow comments like you do, where you let people actively live comment, you know, arguing with you, and you argue back. Nobody else does that in Houston. So I applaud you.
Final thoughts, Aubrey.
Man, somebody better get them boys, man. That coalition, again, man, it's warp speed, and we hadn't even been on these guys too long. And again, they were not even on the radar, man. I mean, you know, this one case, man, it just opened up, you know, what looks like, you know, some type of pyramid deal that we're looking at. And now we gotta do something about it. So not gonna let it go.
Well, I'm gonna say this here. It opened up some type of pyramid deal. But you know what the problem is? When you cross state lines, you got out your state lanes. When you cross state lines and you started shifting that money, you went into the federal side. And you ain't got no friends over there, homie. So, Commissioner Ellis, from me to you, you a sucker. And I don't like you and you don't like me. So keep smiling in their face. I guarantee you, if them folk get off in you the right way, you're going to be the first one to cut a deal and leave all your people hanging. You and that dude that run the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats, he'll cut a deal too. I believe that in all my heart. Say, man, it's a reason why we the best in the business. Say, man, on behalf of my good friends, my white friend, Chuck Muller, my brother, my good friend, Aubrey Taylor, and one of the baddest attorneys in the business, downtown Oliver Brown, I am the 5-star general. I got something for you boys, man. And I ain't gonna stop, because I'm like that old pit bull that'll lock on you. And I ain't gonna let it go until we put them handcuffs on somebody. Remember I told HISD that? Clank, clank. Don't drop the soap until tomorrow night. We'll holler at you.